Hey, Dad.
Hey, Kathy.
I was just sitting here while we're doing inventory and thinking to myself, when did we start to carry so much stuff? I know when Sound of Music first started, we were a piano and organ store. And I mean, there were lots of pianos and organs, but there weren't 27 different kinds of drumsticks. So when and how and why? I know by the time we were in Guilford, there was a guitar dedicated store, but why?
Yeah. Was if you're going to service the wider musical instrument community, or so as the demographic shifted, right, we had to go along and shift. So if you're going to service, for example, we had some folks here today picked up a drum kit.
Mm-hmm.
If we're going to service the drum kit, we actually had to have the drum kit in stock, right? And then with all the parts that go on the
Sticks,
drum
cymbals,
kit, then
pieces,
we had to make sure the
parts.
cymbals were sitting there, right, for the drum kit. And then we had to make sure that you had some sticks to play with it, right? And I just had a funny thought about that drum kit, right? We didn't sell them a throne. Right, so there's always something, right, that comes through, right, you know, when you're working with it. It was like, okay, I'm sitting on a seat here, right, and why didn't I help the fellow with the seat? So, but to get back to your question, right, why is it that we
Or
ended up-
when?
When, right, it started out in, basically when we moved out of the mall and into the freestanding stores and started to shift away from piano and organs and techniques left the industry, so we started to build the inventories.
Because like there was a guitar store in Guilford, because that's where James bought his guitar.
Yeah.
So-
But then when we closed up the guitar store, we really didn't continue in that part of the business, right? It was just a short-lived thing. Right?
It didn't work?
No, right, because it didn't service it. So that's what you have to do, is you have to service it to find a way to make it a hobby.
So it would have been the
service it.
90s then?
It would have been in
That we
that.
really started expanding into more stuff?
Yeah, it was in the late 90s, or mid-90s, late 90s, and on it went from there, you know.
When we were in Seven Oaks, was it still just pianos and organs and print
There
music?
were some guitars on the wall, but not a huge inventory. Even when we came down here in '98, at the front didn't have very many instruments. Matter of fact, you remember when you could probably find a picture of our amplifier section, which was, I think, 5 amplifiers or something at the time, sitting back to back to a piano. Right?
Yeah, we've come a long way since then, that's for sure.
So as you build up your category, so as I was saying in the drums here, but now the fellow's going to have a problem. Maybe the snare on the bottom of the drum is going to break, right? Or he's going to need some felts because he's worn out, or he's moved his kit and he's lost stuff,
Or he's gonna need a drum drum.
She's moved the kit, right? And she's lost things, right? A lot of gals to drum today too, or they break something, you know. The kid comes along, and sometimes these manufacturers are
Puts a screwdriver through the drum head.
yeah, well, sometimes the manufacturers aren't particularly good quality, right? And so the parts on the actual drums break, or on a guitar machine head breaks, or that kind of stuff. So we have to then support and service all that kind of thing. Just the same way that we did support and service the organ and the pianos. So we had lots of piano parts, and you know, ivories to belt, or we could strip a piano down to its frame and bring it right back up into a perfect instrument rebuilt. Same with the electronic organs. It's on lots of parts and transistors. The reason I can find the odd fuse still kicking around here, right, if somebody comes in looking for an amplifier fuse or that kind of thing. So yeah, so we've always supported whatever it is that we've handled, and that's the difference between a shop like ours, right, and a bigger box store, is that they don't actually have the parts. They send that stuff out to farm it out. Here we try to do as much of that we can in-house just to help you out. Just like the gal who just called earlier on the phone today looking for piano wire, right, for her O-rings for her sports race car, right, you know.
I don't know what O-rings are.
That's part of an engine sealant thing. So she's just trying to find a substitute, right, to create the O-ring. It's a sealant, right? And so I said if I had the gauge, I would probably do it with some type of music wire, right? A little bit of a facilitator with that. So, answer your question. There you go, right?
Good. And which is more fun? Was it more fun when we were really, really specialized in pianos and organs, or is it more fun now that we do almost everything?
I've never gone to work a day in my life. It's always been fun. Whoa. Oh, there you go.
All right. Bye.
Crash bang. Talk to you later.